This is a video about the Lakers win over the Celtics and the saga that is Anthony Davis, the drama that is Anthony Davis going on in New Orleans, and just provide some commentary for it. All right.
The Lakers are going to survive all this latest drama. And I say no. I thought last night was more about the Boston Celtics and the problems they have there. And Kyrie Irving having a bad night. I think that game said to me a lot more about the Celtics than the Lakers.
The Celtics prided themselves last year on their defense and their energy on defense, because all defense is effort and energy. That's all it is. If you don't have that, you don't have a good defender. I mean, sure, positioning comes into place, but a majority of defense is all about effort and energy. How much you want to do, and how much are able to do. And this year they're showing neither. They're showing no effort to play defense. They're showing no energy on defense, because when you look at a lot of the highlights when it comes to them rotating and getting on offensive players, like if you look at that Lakers game, it just looks like they're running around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off, and it is like no system when it comes to defense. It's like they're not working together. So I believe that a huge portion of that is, like I said in the Kyrie video, is because of Kyrie. I mean, if I want to take over a team and I believe that I'm more talented, even if I may not be, because they're not. But even if I know I'm not more talented, but I believe I am, and I believe I could lead this team, like I'm pretty sure Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown believe they can. What would make somebody want to leave more than if I'm not putting up 100% effort and I'm not actually trying? Like, I'm not trying. Like I said before, I believe Aaron Rodgers wasn't trying to make it easier for the front office to push Mike McCarthy out. So I believe that's what the Celtics are trying to. They're trying to find a way to get Kyrie out of there. Then hopefully, and they're hoping that he leaves during free agency. So
I would say yes. It was more proof of the Lakers when they play at an optimal level, when they live up to their potential. That is a team that can make a serious run. Mission three, Sadie.
What potential? Like, you're talking about potential, like people had this team winning the NBA finals or something. What potential? I mean, at this point, it might be up in the air if they'll even make the playoffs, honestly. I mean, and I'm pretty sure there are some LeBron James fans out there that believe that he'll get them there, and he may. But if you were to tell me that a LeBron James team, and this is one of the most talented teams he's had worse players around him as far as team. He's had worse, and he's managed to get them to 60 wins. And the fact that they're 28 and 27, 28 and 29 and 27, 29, 28, some shit like that. If you were to tell me that right before the All-Star break that LeBron James is on a 500 team, I would laugh. Just seeing how he's able to push teams that has just the least amount of talent on it. He's able to push them to heights that nobody expects them to be at is amazing. If you were to tell me that he would have the Lakers with the young crew that they have there, and they are talented no matter how they play, they are a talented team, he'd have them at 500 going into the All-Star break. I would laugh.
Yeah, 22-3. Last night. Golden State beat them at home with LeBron before injury, and they were the fourth seed by 20. Yeah, that team. It's the same team that's
22-3.
Okay, but it's a different formula every different time. But it's still LeBron James' team that now has brought the shoulders down, the relief, the gorillas off your back. We are staying in LA. We heard Lonzo playing Puff Daddy. We ain't going nowhere. It's real. These guys are a young core that is starting to say, we're here together. We're glue. Let's go out there and go get it.
Everything is psychological, So we all witness this where, there's situations, whether it's going from one network to another, or going from one team to another team, especially when you're young. Psychologically, it does a lot to you, right? It does a lot to you as an individual. So this right here for the Lakers, the younger guys in the Lakers, the trade is over now. Now I can play a little more free. I know I'm not going nowhere right now, right? And you gotta think about it. The millenniums are like this just in the world alone. They forget fast. So it's like, okay, I was worried. All right, well, mom and dad ain't gonna do nothing. I came in late. They ain't gonna say nothing. Okay, cool. I lasted. They lasted right now. So now you're seeing more confident. Woo, we got that off our back kind of thing. That's what I think.
What about when the kids come in and mom and dad are black, but they still giving me up for adoption as soon as they can?
It's always multiple ways you can look at it. And yes, that's one of them.
Pack them bags.
But
Stay packed.
Pack them
You
bags.
ain't gotta pack them, just stay packed.
Keep them by the door. Keep them by the door.
But Luke did a good job last night of relying on his vets and putting the pressure on his vets and let them ride the wave until the end of the season. I think they have shooting coming, and they have some guys with experience coming. So it's going to be a situation where if they have their vets, they don't have to show off their young core like they did to make it attractive in a trade package. So now you can rely on your vets, and your vets have playoff experience. You have another champion on your bench. You have people that can put together performances from experience, from a confidence perspective. And if they get rolling on this stint of games they have coming up against some really tough teams, it puts a lot of pressure on people in the playoffs going forward. And I think they will.
And Dante, I'm shocked by you.
And that's if. That's if. Because that game was an anomaly. They were down by 18 at one point. And then they just said, fuck it. And they just started throwing up a whole bunch of three-point shots. It got so out of control, Rondo was hitting step-back three-pointers. Rondo, never at any point in his career did you ever believe that this dude could knock down a step-back three-pointer, ever. And this dude was knocking down step-back three-pointers. That's how bad it got. Now, when Marcellus Wiley said they hit 22 threes, Jason Whitlock said there's nothing you can do about that. There is something you could do about that. You know what they call it? They call it perimeter defense. You can stop a team from hitting the three. See, just because nowadays in the NBA, it's not as advertised that defense is good, doesn't mean defense isn't good. Defense is still a good thing you need to practice. Look at LeBron. LeBron for the last couple of years, man, he has been one of the worst as far as defense. But he's so good offensively, people would just ignore it. Like, oh, he plays defense. No, he doesn't. Just because he's able to wow you with a triple-double doesn't mean at any point during that run he was able to play good defense. Now, the Celtics have good defense. They have good defensive players because they have length. They have young guys, which matters because you're talking about energy. All that's missing is the effort. I mean, the energy is still there. They're just not using it. Now, and this is the one thing that the Celtics get caught up doing, and they're going to lose every time if this keeps happening. Since last year, the Celtics get caught up in the game of three-pointers where they'll pass the ball like 5 or 6 times. All they're doing is looking for an open three-point shot. That's all they're doing. If you look at the playoffs last year, all they were doing was looking for the open three. They shot a lot of three-pointers. And that's what knocked them out of the playoffs against Cleveland. In Game 7, they kept shooting. If Terry Rozier goes 0 for 10 from 3, it's a problem. So, see back what he's saying.
Your take. And I'm going to just tell you why. Because we've talked, and I can't believe you're not going to take this opportunity. Boston is in shambles. They have an organization and young players.
But you still have to play in Boston. And Boston is still a tough atmosphere. Yeah. They still have some tough competitors over on that team. Yes, they are in shambles. You're absolutely correct. I think it was a great game by the Lakers. And Boston is in shambles as well. I can't take that away from
Well, you got to think about it, too. Like, what you're saying, Jace, you're right on. But again, too, you have to give Lakers credit. Now, at the end of the game, with Boston game, who's their best defender? Marcus Smart. He's not in the game. Was he 6 fouls? Did he have 6 fouls? Right? My point I'm trying to make is he's not in the game. Gordon Hayward's in the game. There's guys in the game
that shambles.
You're right, but you still have to give the Lakers some type of credit.
We're focusing on the Lakers' young players. What about your point that the Boston young players that went to the conference finals and they're on the trade block too?
But Kyrie did make a great comment last night. He said, listen, you saw the length on the court at that point in time in the game. Like, I didn't have any pathways to the basket. That's a testament to what they have over there and they can use. They had a great performance from the Lakers. Boston is now they're in a mind trick right now because those young kids are looking like, oh, now we have an expiration date. It just flips back to Boston. We have an expiration date at this point in time.
They're thinking that.
And I carried you to the conference.
Y'all exaggerate the demise of Boston. That was an old narrative. Look at Boston. They won 10 of the last 11, and the only loss was a 4-point loss to Golden State. This team was rolling.
They were definitely rolling.
They were rolling, and then the Lakers went in there and said, despite what's going on, they're on notice. Think about it. We all are this way. You could be in one form, one flow, and then someone puts you on notice. We about to trade you, but we're not. But that notice has been internalized. So now you're not feeling awkward. People think it's going to be awkward playing with LeBron now. It's just like playing with Kobe.
All right, look. Just because they went on a little bit of a winning streak, they are a very talented team. They're going to go on winning streaks. You play in a regular season, and this is what separates the playoffs from the regular season. You're playing all different types of talent every single night. Or every single game night. You're not just playing the best talent. You're playing all kinds of talent. Now, during that streak, they could have played teams like Phoenix, Brooklyn. Of course, you're going to beat them. If you lose to them, it's serious issues then. Because they're far less talented. And there have been... Look at the Miami Heat their last year together. Well, D-Wade, LeBron, Chris Bosh. Their last year together, that was far from the best Miami Heat team we've seen during that little era right there. But they were still beating teams. I believe they won 60 games still. Or probably high 50s. They were still beating teams. That don't mean that they were the most cohesive team. That just means that we're far more talented than anybody else. So,
you can't do nothing to the king. You can't do nothing to Mamba. So it's not awkward. You got to suppress that.
You can't do something to Mamba, and you can't do something to the king. Now, this is what separates LeBron and Kobe, in my opinion, man. LeBron is able to actually will his team places. Kobe can't do that same thing. Kobe has never won without Phil Jackson, without Derek Fisher, and without a solid big man. Go back and look it up. Kobe has never won. He's never gotten to the NBA Finals without Shaq or Powell, Phil Jackson, and Derek Fisher. Never. Kobe was a phenomenal scorer. He was an above-average defender. He was a great athlete. Kobe was a great player. But if you look at the success this dude had with and without those pieces, it's night and day.
They don't notice for real.
To me, the trade deadline to me will have more of a significant impact. Look, the Lakers to me aren't a serious team. Boston should be a title contender. And I don't think they're going to compete.
Who says they're not? Who says they're not? All this stuff that we're talking about now could be a moot point once the playoffs start. It is still a mile left between now and the playoffs. We're only at the All-Star break. There's still about 3 months left of regular season basketball.
For a title. Because I think they're as shook by the trade deadline and their impending getting dusted and moved out of town by Danny Ainge, and an organization. Again, if I'm in that locker room, and I know they have moved Gordon Hayward to the bench and all that, but why is he getting minutes? in particularly in crunch time, he hasn't earned that.
The last 50-something seconds, Gordon Hayward's in before Marcus Smart is in. You don't get that rebound, Morris. Like that, Marcus Smart is in. It's a different game to me.
They had 10 days of a situation where the Lakers' young core was on notice, and they might be on the trading block. Boston got the rest of the season. They got the playoffs to think about this. They have that mental struggle on their back, and they know two of.
It's funny how before this game, everybody's talking about the Lakers like it's some real weird shit going on up there. But after this game and after they had this comeback, which wasn't even an impressive really comeback, honestly. I mean, LeBron is known for having comebacks like this, where his team's down by 10 plus points going into the fourth quarter, and for some reason they win by 1 to 5 points at the end of the game. It's impressive how before the game the Lakers were the subject of criticism. Now after this game, Boston is the subject of criticism, and the Lakers are looked at like Lakers are going to be a problem. Really? Last year, Boston beat both Golden State and Houston back to back. Kept both teams under 100 points. Does anybody believe that had any bearing on the postseason? Now, Coutinho Mobley is only going off like this because he's a former Laker. And Dante Jones is only going off like this because he's a former LeBron teammate. And the reason why I bring those up is because to athletes, loyalty matters. Because without loyalty, what the fuck do you have to them? That's the way they think. This is why you'll never see Dante Jones. You'll never see D Wade. You'll never see. Let me guess. Like anybody that has an extensive period with LeBron, you'll never see them talk bad about this dude. You'll never see them throw him under the bus. You'll never see him talk negatively about him. And I'm not saying they should, but you'll never see it. Just like you'll never see Greg Jennings talk bad about Aaron Rodgers. You'll never see Mark Schlereth say anything bad about those Denver teams in the late 90s. Like, it's you'll never see Colin Cowherd. You'll never see, what's his name? Nick Wright. You'll never see them talk bad about LeBron. Because, and I know Cowherd's not a player. I know Nick Wright's not a player, but loyalty matters to certain people. And I'll just throw them out there because it spreads across every aspect of life, man. Loyalty matters. That's when objectivity is thrown out the window. And all you have to stand on is your biased opinion. And this is why in certain arguments, you can't really take what these players say seriously. Really, you can't take anything anybody says at face value. You have to do some research. You have to really think about it. So, like Dante Jones is a very loyal guy, and I commend that. And he loves LeBron. But come on, bro. You can just see it in his face whenever he talks about LeBron or whenever. And anytime you see him on these panels, 9 times out of 10 it's probably a LeBron topic. So.
Of them might be in the package. Like Marcus Smart might be, but they know Jason Tatum is the centerpiece of that trade. And how do you think he feels right now? Well, who cares? No, you have to care because he's young and his performance is based on his mental stability.
What happened to the Lakers in Indiana?
How the fuck did Danny Ainge come out and say, we're discussing a trade for AD and Jason Tatum is the center of that trade? That's the reason why the trade didn't go through, because they don't want to give up Jason Tatum. They probably don't even want to give up Jaylen Brown. They don't want to give them up. They were trying to make a deal with anybody else besides those two guys. Because Jason Tatum, in all honesty, he's their future. This is how Danny Ainge is looking at it. Right now, we have Kyrie. He's our leader. For a couple more years, we have Al Horford. He'll probably be our leader. At some point in the future, and probably the near future, Jason Tatum is our guy. That's the reason why the trade didn't go through, is because they didn't want to give him up. If they would have included any trade, like let's say Rozier, a first round pick this year, and maybe a first round pick a couple years from now, and Jason Tatum, that deal will go through, because the Pelicans need something to build on. They can't just build on draft picks. They need a player that they have faith in, that they could build on. This is why they didn't want to take the Lakers pick, nothing the Lakers was offering. And they said, we want 4 first-round picks, because they need to guarantee they have an opportunity to rebuild after Anthony Davis. And you either do that with a shitload of draft picks, or you do that with a player that you can build around. And Jason Tatum is a player you can build around. Nobody wants Lonzo Ball anymore, is because the Lakers done mistreated him so much, or they done mistreated his image so much. Now people are looking at him like he's a fucking bust, and he's not. They just mistreated this kid so much that it just looks that way. So,
no, we all are like this, and like I say, it goes back to psychology. We all are like this, just as kids. Your biggest adversity for the Lakers guys was that the past week playing against Indiana. They picked you, so when they pick you, now they want to trade you inside for the past 2-3 weeks, maybe a month. You feel insecure.
Wait a second. I'm saying who cares, because the results.
I'm saying who cares because the point they're trying to make, it doesn't make any sense, because the Boston Celtics wasn't trying to trade Jason Tatum. They weren't trying to trade. Why would you do that? Honestly, why would you trade Jason Tatum for a player like Anthony Davis, who, one, can't stay healthy, and two, hasn't even proved that he can consistently get his team to the playoffs? Like, they went to the playoffs last year. I believe they may have went to the playoffs the year before. But Anthony Davis has been in the league for at least 7 or 8 years. 2 playoff appearances out of 7 or 8 years. It's not good enough, bro. When you were looked at as one of the best players in the league, you're probably 3rd year or 2nd year, something like that. Come on, man.
Boston's 4th in the East. Despite a slow start, Kyrie Irving certainly had a slow start by his standards. They're top 10 in both offensive and defensive rating, top 5 defense rating. The team has figured a way to get this going and getting it going well. They beat Toronto. They beat OKC. This is recently.
When you're the most talented team on the floor, it doesn't take much to propel you to a win. Now, the only way you lose is if you're so unfocused that you can't seem to get your head focused on the game. That's the only reason why you would lose, is if you're 100% just not into the game. But when you're the most talented team on the floor, it takes a strong effort for you not to win. That's what I'm saying. This little win streak that they were on is nothing. It's nothing. So, I want to see them do this late, March? I want to see them do this late March into April, closer to the playoffs. Yeah, then I'll feel comfortable as a Celtics viewer to be able to discern for myself. All right, I think we're good. Right now, we're not good. This team is not good. So, and it has nothing to do with the Lakers. Honestly, for the Lakers to be down 18 with LeBron on your team says a lot about the Lakers also. So, you know.
Get it, but based on talent, they should, to me, have the best record in the NBA.
I get it.
Went to the conference finals, and you got...
They have too much talent. Too much talent. You gotta well, Kyrie's gonna leave, so Rozier's probably gonna be your guy. You can't pay him what he wants, so you're probably gonna have to let him go. there's not a chance you may get a high lottery pick with those draft picks you have because I believe they have the Clippers pick, they have Sacramento's pick, and they also have the Grizzlies pick. The Clippers have been playing well so far, but since they traded Tobias Harris, the Clippers will fall off. But I don't know if that'll be a high lottery pick. Who knows how far the drop off is. And Sacramento's playing out of their mind, so I don't know. The Grizzlies, you kind of hope they don't play too well because if they do, it ups their chances of grabbing that number 1 pick.
Two of your best players. East is much bigger this year, and every year we see
You
it.
got Kyrie Irving,
Talent
who's
is not
in
it.
PC. One, you got Gordon Hayward, who's a problem. Then you got Kyrie Irving, who's supposed to be the face of your team, and he's having open conversations basically about he may get
But
the hell up out of there.
it is still the first year because Miami, when LeBron went to Miami with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, everybody thought they should have won the championship the first year. That's not how it works. When Portland was...
More and more student debt is keeping people from...
All right, I'm going to say this real quick, man. That point that Cuttino Mobley just made, they should have won that. They should have won that championship. And that is still, and that will forever be a black mark on LeBron's career, is the fact that he didn't win that title against Dallas, where Dallas was completely overmatched, but Miami got completely outplayed.
doing what they love. Like bye.
stack of Rasheed Wallace and Jermaine O'Neal and everybody else and Steve Smith and Scottie Pippen, you should have won it. You were a tip or rebound away from going to where you're supposed to go. But it's not so much as like, oh, because you have Kyrie back and you have Hayward back, you guys should be. That's not how it works.
Right.
They need another year.
All right. The Pelicans to me here are protecting the NBA's interest more than their own interest. And I think it's probably the right thing to do because I think when it comes to this offseason, the league is going to, regardless of what happens to Anthony Davis health-wise, they're going to make sure they get the right amount of value in a trade.
Yeah, they're doing the right thing by putting him out there. Look, this whole risk injury, let's not hype this up too much. I think it's getting exaggerated. Oh, don't put him out there as a potential trade chit, and then he gets hurt. Oh,
Hey, this is the team, the Boogie? Boogie was on their team.
Porzingis, anybody? With a major injury just got traded, and they got assets for Porzingis. So you still will get what you need out of Anthony Davis, injured or not. So I'm not going there. And I ain't buy the whole integrity of the league argument. I bought what they really wanted to say is, we got a top 5 player here. He's box office. We're going to milk these fans as much as we can. We're going to get all the milk out this carton, add some water, to call it milk after. That's what you do.
I want Marcellus on this, man. The New Orleans Pelicans doesn't really lose anything by letting them play. And honestly, if Anthony Davis was going to get hurt, he's going to get hurt regardless. It doesn't matter. I mean, this dude has been hurt at some point during his career every season. I mean, at some point in the season, every single season. So I really don't think that's the defining factor, man. There have been times where he got hurt where they didn't want him to get hurt, where they needed him. Then I don't think they need him as much anymore, but it doesn't hurt for you to have him out there. And I believe that I saw something on this. They said that if Anthony Davis didn't play, then he probably would have to stay in New Orleans. I think they either cut your money down in free agency or they make you play another season there to honor your contract. And this is what I'm saying, man. Look, loyalty does not exist in sports. Even though these players believe it in their hearts that it does, it doesn't. That's why franchises trade players. That's why franchises release players. That's why franchises sign players on to replace other players. Loyalty does not exist. If you are 100% beneficial for a team to have you, to play you, to depend on you, to rely on you, then, okay, loyalty does exist. But the moment that you are not beneficial to the cause, you are gone. Or you are replaced. It happens. Sorry, I'm still a little sick. But Anthony Davis, what Anthony Davis tried to do was completely selfish. And I only say that because you signed a contract, bro. You signed a contract. You obviously want to, like this same argument about Aaron Rodgers that I tried to make to somebody. You signed a contract. You can't regret signing a contract. And that's what I don't get about these players. They sign these 5-year deals, and then by the second or third year, when things aren't going their way, they're ready to get the fuck about their deal. You signed the deal. Be a man of your word, man. If you say that I'm going to do something, just fucking do it. Just do it. Especially when you're getting paid millions to fucking do it. It's not like they're not paying you. You are getting paid to do it. Just do it. But that's it. This video ran a little longer than I wanted it to. But alright.